So today I'm going to be talking about sexual alchemy. So what is alchemy? So this is a term a lot of us are familiar with. When we hear about alchemy, we often think about um, turning lead into gold, right? That's kind of the classical external alchemy. This is external alchemy. So when I talk about sexual alchemy, I'm talking about internal alchemy. So the process of turning lead into gold, this is metaphorical, right? This is we're turning our internal, rough elements of our emotions, of our psyche. We're turning these raw elements and we're transforming them into something greater. Our spiritual gold or emotional gold, right? So this is internal alchemy, and this is also the process of speeding up our evolution, so that we typically grow and change by the experiences we have in the world. And sometimes this is a very slow and rough process. We're often shaken by the world and the events in our life to be forced to change, to be forced to change our habits that are no longer serving us. So when we have an internal alchemy practice, we're going through this process internally. We are accelerating this process, and so what would normally take years or decades to occur in our life, these transformations, we're able to make them happen very quickly and very powerfully internally. And this causes us to evolve very quickly and to come into harmony and balance whenever things are not aligned in our life. So this is sort of the theory and premise of internal alchemy. So sexual energy and our sexual relationships are a very great opportunity to go through this alchemical process, because relationship, our interactions with others, they are an alchemical process, right? We have these different elements coming together. We have these different polarities, these yin yang polarities coming together, and there's always this dynamic. Sometimes there's a bit of a struggle, but our entire life is really this dynamic of tension, within ourselves and the outside world, the things we're experiencing, and our relationships always mirror where we're at internally. So relationships are one of the most powerful methods or ways that we grow, by our experiences with our interactions with other people, in relationship. And male and female energy is very volatile, and it's a very powerful force to consciously work with. And when I say male and female energies, I'm not just talking about straight relationships. For anyone who's gay, homosexual, there's always male and female energies. We all have aspects of male and female within us, and so by becoming aware of these aspects, we are able to harmonize their interaction and really use them for our greatest evolving, our greatest evolvement, and our greatest unfoldment of our destiny in our life's process. So sex is much more than just a physical thing. We have grown up with this idea of completely physicalized sex. It's completely, our experience and our perception of sex is often just limited to the genital area, because most of us, we learn about sex through porn and things like that, and just gives us this totally limited and physical based view of what sex is. But it's so much deeper. It's so much more multidimensional. When we have sex with someone, we're connecting with them on a very deep and profound level. We're also transcending polarity, because we're in these polarized bodies. And when these, male female bodies come together, we transcend that polarity. The polarities meet, and this generates a neutral force. We enter this neutral state of feeling connection. We no longer feel that sense of separation that so many of us, all of us, live with in our life, being in a polarized body. That's one of the reasons we're so drawn to sex, why we're so obsessed with sex. It's a powerful experience of connection and of resolving the polarity and the disconnect that we feel in our lives. And by being conscious of this fact, being conscious of the fact that we can enter a state of neutrality and generate neutral force with sexual connection, we can amplify that neutral force. The Taoists call this neutral force yuan qi. So we have yin and yang. Most people are familiar with this, but there's also the third force, yuan qi. This is neutrality. And this is our original state of being. A lot of people talk about oneness. This is what that is yuan qi. It's our original state. But we're in such a polarized world that we often don't recognize this state of neutrality, because we're so polarized. We're so, it's either right or it's left, it's up or down. We have a hard time recognizing neutrality. And so sexual alchemy is a way to enhance our perception of neutral force and work with this powerful force to nourish ourselves, to heal our bodies, to accelerate our spiritual unfoldment, and basically manifest whatever we want, because sexual energy is creative energy. It's powerful, very potent creative force that we can work with at any time to birth new things in our life, to heal our bodies, to energize ourselves, to heal our partners. It's just incredibly powerful. And so an important thing to be aware of is the fact that most people's most people's relationship to their sexuality and the way that they express themselves sexually is actually draining them of energy. So for men, excessive ejaculation drains a man of his life force. The semen is the essence of a man's body. It contains all vital nutrients. The entire body contributes to the creation of the semen. And when a man's ejaculating frequently, he's draining his nutrients, and the body can't keep up with this production. So it pulls resources from the organs, from the spinal fluid, from the brain, and it's not apparent in your teenage years, as a man, because it just feels like you have this bottomless well of energy. But as a man ages and he continues to recklessly ejaculate, he starts to lose the sexual vitality. That's why so many men are experiencing sexual dysfunctions in their 30s and 40s, and some even in their 20s now, because we have so much excessive sexual stimulation, and it just drives men to eject their sexual energy, to discharge their sexual energy. Most men have this approach of discharging themselves through sex, and this is something that needs to change if you want to be healthy, if you want to evolve and live in harmony, and really balance yourself. And for women, the issue is one of, so when a woman has her menstrual cycle, this is the body detoxifying itself. There's this sort of emotional, energetic detoxification that's occurring when a woman has her menstrual cycle. But by losing blood, if a woman has an excessively heavy period, she's losing a lot of resources, a lot of energy. It's the equivalent to a man's ejaculation. And so by doing certain practices to discharge negativity, to detoxify negative emotions and patterns, then the woman's period will be much less severe, and therefore she won't lose so much energy from her menstruation. So this is kind of the ways that men and women typically are draining their sexual energy. And by becoming aware of this, you can really increase your vitality, increase your sexual potency, and instead of being drained of your sexual energy, because typically men they throw away their sexual energy, and their energy just declines as they age. Instead of that, you can build up this sexual energy. So you don't have to ejaculate every time you have sex. You can learn to separate orgasm from ejaculation, still have complete satisfaction. In fact, it's even more intense and more satisfying because you can have these orgasms over and over. You can last as long as you want in bed, and you're gaining energy. Instead of discharging it, you're circulating it internally. You're building yourself up, and you can use this energy that you're generating in your meditation, in your spiritual practice. You can work with this energy to evolve yourself further. So many of us, so there's some questions. I'm going to answer questions at the end of this. We are often completely focused on the external world around us. We completely relate to our external world, which is really just an illusion. And this causes us to relate with struggle, to relate with conflict. We identify with the struggle and the conflict that we're experiencing in the external world. And so few of us actually have a relationship with our internal world. There's this whole world inside of our bodies, and we're in such an excessively stimulated society that we're not even aware of this. And so we go projecting our energy outwards, just draining and depleting our energy. So when you start to develop a relationship with this internal world, then you start to, instead of discharging your energy outward, you begin to bring it within. You begin to collect this energy. You begin to store this energy, to build it up. It's like a lot of people do breath work and things like that, and pranayama type practices. Wim Hof method is huge, and it's very powerful. But the thing is, working with breath alone is very limited. As soon as you exhale, that energy dispersed. It disperses very quickly. when you learn to collect energy in the body. So, for example, in Taoist practices, which I practice and teach, you create a pearl, you create a container for this energy. So, you store that energy. So, instead of just breathing it in, exhaling, and then you use up the energy, it's gone, you store this energy. You store these experiences you're having, your sexual experiences, whatever, everything in your world, you're storing it in this energetic structure because your body is going to die. You're going to die one day, but when you create an internal container for all of your life experiences, all of your energy, this can live longer than the body. So this is one of the goals of the internal alchemy practices, the sexual alchemy, is to create a vessel that will essentially live forever. And this is, the concept of immortality in Taoism, and enlightenment, and ascension that other lineages call it. So this is really the premise of complete unfoldment of your energy body and being able to sustain this powerful energy beyond your lifetime. And so an important thing to note here is that one of the causes of death is that our elements disperse. So the water in our body, our sexual energy, it tends to flow downward, right? It flows down and out of our bodies. Our water sinks, our sexual vitality, when you're discharging it during sex, it flows out of the body, it flows downward, you lose it. And the fire tends to, our fire element, it disperses upward, right? Our fire rises and the water sinks. And this is why we age, is because our elements disperse, they disconnect, and we're no longer coherent. We're no longer a coherent body, and so we die. Well, when you can instead keep that fire and water balanced, when you keep that sexual vitality in your body, when you can raise it up so that it doesn't sink out and down, because that's what water does, it flows downward. When you can raise that water, that sexual energy up, and when you can bring the fire down, now the fire is under the water sinks, the fire raises, so the fire cooks the water and creates this neutral steam. This is one of the premises of internal sexual alchemy, because the fire represents our inner male, the water represents our inner female. So when you cook these forces together, you create a portal to neutral force. So again, this concept of neutral force, which is the product of two polarities joining. So like a man and a woman during sex, or two partners, whatever, they join and they create neutral force. Well, you can do this internally inside your own body when you can connect with your inner male and your inner female, gathering them into fire and water, and you couple them internally, and you can create this neutral force. So a very simple way to prevent your water from sinking down and out of your body, and prevent your fire from dispersing through the head out, is practicing the microcosmic orbit. So the microcosmic orbit is the main energy channel in the body. It travels up the back of the body, down the front. It's not Kundalini. This is different than Kundalini energy, though it can be related. So by creating this channel in the body, the fire rises up, but then it's contained, and the front of the body is the water channel. So it creates this unification of our fire and our water, our male and female energy, and it balances that. It balances our yin and yang, balances our male female, and our fire and water. And so this is one of the keys to sustaining health and sustaining balance in your life, basically. So I want to give you guys a quick technique to use to start practicing some internal sexual alchemy. And then I'm going to answer some questions. A bunch of you guys are sending questions to me. So this is a really simple method. So just be aware of your sexual center, and just feel the cool, watery energy that's there. And then feel the fiery heat of the heart. So as you inhale, feel this cool, watery energy flowing up from your sexual center into your heart. You can guide it with your hands, and as you exhale, bring the heart energy down. Feel this fire energy flowing down into the sexual center. Inhale the watery, cool energy up from the sexual center into the heart. Exhale the heat, the heart fire down into the sexual center. One more time. Cool energy up. And exhale the heart energy down. So it's very simple. What we're doing is we're connecting the kidneys and the heart. So in Chinese medicine, the kidneys they represent the water element. The kidney system is not just the physical kidneys; it's all the sexual organs, the bladder, all the fluids in the body. So the bone marrow, the blood vessels. This is all part of the kidney system. So, and there's There's a relationship between the heart and the kidney system. The kidneys are producing, the fluids in our body, which represents our vitality, our physical vitality. The heart is it's our radiant love energy. The heart is the emperor of all the elements. And so, the kidneys produce the blood, but the heart's moving the blood. So the heat of the heart is keeping the water energy from freezing. So there's a relationship between the heart and the kidneys, and strengthening and balancing this relationship is one of the keys to balance in your life, but especially this is one of the premises of alchemy is working with water and fire. So heart and kidneys. One of the causes of heart attacks is actually deficient kidney energy. So excessive yang, it burns out the kidneys. We live in an excess yang culture. It's always go go go, do all these things, overwork, and this burns out the kidneys. It dries up our water. We don't have any yin, and then the kidney system is essentially, it's keeping the heart cool, right? It's kind of the coolant system for the heart, and the heart fire just burns out of control without that yin energy, and that's often a cause of heart attack, which is the most common cause of death for men. So keeping this relationship conscious and working with these energies is one of the most important things you can do for your health, your balance, your happiness, anything. So yeah, so that's basically the premise of sexual alchemy. It's being aware of this yin yang dynamic, these polarities, and balancing them, harmonizing them, and enhancing their relationship to cultivate neutral force. So I'm going to answer some questions now. Oh, thanks, brother. Let's see. How to turn the urge into creativity and productivity? Well, it's quite so. I think you're saying if you're having like sexual urges that are going to be expressed in an unhealthy way, how to instead channel them into creativity and productivity. Do something productive, do something creative when you're having sexual urges. Put that into your work, put that into your creative work. And if you're practicing qigong, if you're practicing meditation, breath work, it's going to increase that circulation of sexual energy into your body, so you'll be able to channel it into your creative work, basically. Another question, I'm 45, how can I increase my energy? There's a lot of ways to do it. Obviously, having a balanced diet, drinking plenty of water, keeping hydrated, healthy breathing habits, because a lot of us breathe unconsciously. Poor breathing habits leads to low sexual vitality, because the lungs are, that's one of the main ways we take in energies, through the lungs. And from the lungs, it sinks to the kidneys. So the lungs are the metal element. That heavy air energy sinks down to the kidneys, nourishes the kidneys, which is our sexual vitality. So breathing is one of the main ways to keep yourself sexually vital. So do some balanced breathing practices to capture that energy. And when you're doing internal practice to enhance that collection of energy, so you can breathe from your lungs down into your kidneys and feel them absorbing that energy. That's going to increase your sexual vitality. Also, taking Chinese herbs, formulas to strengthen the kidney yin is going to be important for your sexual vitality, and practicing qigong, which is an incredible practice for building your energy. So any other questions, guys? Feel free to throw some questions at me right now. Is breathing the easiest thing to start with for lasting longer? Yes, definitely. Because I talk about this a lot, that the breath is the easiest way to keep yourself in a parasympathetic state, because ejaculation is caused by, it's a function of the sympathetic nervous system. It's our fight or flight response. So when you're overly stressed, when you're not getting enough sleep, when you're working too hard, when you're tense, then you're going to ejaculate very quickly, because your body's already in that fight or flight mode. Your sympathetic nervous system is activated. So working with Slow, deep breaths is the easiest way to keep yourself parasympathetic and is the easiest way to last longer during sex because it gives you something to focus on. And so you're able to keep your attention internally. And so, um, yeah, it's definitely the number one thing I recommend to beginners is working consciously with your breath during sex, and that will help you last longer. And then you can work with more advanced methods from there. What is a balanced diet? Eat organic. Don't eat GMOs. Avoid processed sugar. Drink plenty of water. Eat real foods. Basically, I'm not. I don't get into like extreme diets. Diet's kind of a religion for people these days. But I think we can all agree that eating organic, don't eat processed foods, and drink plenty of water. And so those are some. That's all I'm going to say about that for now. How to stay controlled in a stressful, fearful situation. Being present in your body. When we're stressed, we're often, we tense up, we rise up, our center of gravity lifts, and we're off our center. We're out of balance, and we're easily pushed over. So when you're able to keep yourself sinking down, keep your energy relaxed, relax your shoulders, relax this point here, this large vertebrae at the top, the base of the neck, the C7 vertebrae. You relax this, feel it sink, and feel that relaxation spread down the spine. And breathe slowly and deeply, if you're ever feeling stressed, and that will be tremendously helpful. Is there any technique to create sexual aura that attracts women? So practicing semen retention is a simple way because you build up your sexual energy, you become more polarized, you become more masculine, and people will pick up on this. So that's the most simple way. And of course, cultivating your energy, doing qigong, doing meditation, anything to raise your vibration, to raise your state. People just, they feel your energy. We pick up people's vibes, whether we're aware of it. And so the more your energy is flowing in a harmonious way, the better other people are going to feel around you. So basically work on yourself, do qigong, do yoga, do meditation, and other people will enjoy being around you more, and you'll be able to attract your ideal partner. Any recommendations on books or videos, practitioners on qigong? I've got some videos on my YouTube channel. As far as books, Montauk Chia's books are really great. Bruce Francis has a lot of great books as well. Ken Cohen has a book called, I think it's like The Art of Qigong or something like that. Another really great book on qigong is The Way of Energy by Lam Kam Chuen, LamKamChuen. If you look up Stand Still, Be Fit on YouTube, you'll see some of these videos. He's great. He teaches Zhanzhuan, which is an incredible practice of standing meditation. Can semen retention help hair growth? I've heard of people, they claim that they were balding and then they practice semen retention and they say that their hair started growing back. So I can't say from personal experience, but I do believe there's a correlation between men who ejaculate excessively and they start balding. So I do believe that there's some sort of correlation there. A simple breathing exercise to last long. Just breathe into your belly, long, slow, deep breaths. And you can even count the breath because that will help you focus more. Basically the more focus you're able to keep internally, the more you're going to be able to control your energy. So long, slow belly breathing during sex is going to be very valuable for you. The best exercises on NoFap to transform the sexual energy: microcosmic orbit and testicle breathing. Like if you're doing semen retention, I really, really recommend that you're doing microcosmic orbit and testicle breathing. Otherwise, you're just building up all this raw jing, all this raw sexual energy, and you're not converting it. It's not really going anywhere. It's just sitting in your balls. And that's why so many guys get irritable, they get blue balls and all these things when they're doing semen retention. So if you're not, it's really important that you're moving that energy if you're doing semen retention. Whenever I stop ejaculation, I lose the erection without managing to get it back. There's many causes to this, depends what technique you're using. A lot of guys clench their PC muscle basically at the point of ejaculation, and this causes a dry orgasm, but the semen flows into the bladder. So it's a retrograde ejaculation. So this may be, I'm not sure exactly what practice you're using, what you're talking about, but this could be the case of what you're experiencing. I felt a magnetic electric sensation in hands after sun and moon qigong exercise. What does it mean? This is a video I have on my YouTube channel. That's your energy. It means, you do qigong, your energy flows, and often the first manifestation is the tingling in the hand. So it means your energy is moving. So yeah, it's great. Is orgasm harmful to your brain, even non-ejaculatory orgasm? Well, excessive ejaculation can deplete the because when you ejaculate too much, your body has to pull resources from all over the body, and it may pull resources from the brain, and so that can be harmful to your brain health. But I would say that non-ejaculatory orgasms are not harmful to your brain. In fact, you can bring the orgasms up to your brain, which boosts your creative thinking, your intelligence with sexual energy. Yeah, it means you did the exercise well. Yeah, that's one of my favorite qigong practices. It's really powerful. When using 3 fingers for last-minute emergencies, how much percent would I say gets lost? So the 3 fingers methods, it's also called the $1 million points, where you actually press your fingers up into the perineum to physically block the fluid from moving. It's a crude method, but it can be a good last resort. I would say you lose about somewhere around 50% of the energy. I think Montauk Chia says 40 or maybe 60% or something like that. So it's definitely not as much as a full-blown ejaculation, but there is a bit of energy loss from it. Okay, guys, just gonna wrap up right now. So any other questions, feel free to send me them. Could a man control wet dreams? This is a very common question. I've made videos on this, but basically take a cold shower or an ice bath before you go to bed. If you have a lot of unresolved sexual tension, sexual desires, that's another major cause of wet dreams. So doing some meditation before bed, do the microcosmic orbit before bed. Those are extremely helpful. Also, not sleeping in a room that's really hot or a heavy blanket. Those are some things that cause wet dreams. What makes you happy? Are you asking me personally what makes me happy? Or is that just a general question? For me, keeping myself balanced, spending time in nature, doing things I enjoy doing, these things make me happy. My qigong practice, my daily practice makes me happy. Am I Finnish or Swedish hereditarily? A lot of people have been asking me this lately. I do have some Swedish genes. I believe I have some Finnish ancestry as well. So yeah, yes. When I breathe up the spine, I get a nice mild orgasmic goosebump type feeling. Am I on the right track? Yeah, definitely. Any sort of sensation happening means that you're on the right time. How many times is safe for ejaculation? So there's certain time periods that, when a man ejaculates, it takes him so long to recover. And if you ejaculate within that recovery period, you're going to put yourself in depletion mode. A good formula I've seen is by a teacher named Stephen Chang. He recommends, so you take your age and you multiply it by 0.2, and this is the number of days you should go minimally between ejaculation. So I am 30 years old, times 0.2 is about 6. So that would mean if I ejaculated, I should wait at least 6 days before ejaculating again. So me personally, I go much longer, but this is a good method to determine, basically, if you ejaculate and you feel really fatigued, really exhausted and depressed the next day, then it means you should go longer. You really remind me of Jake Mace. Yeah. Jake Mace is a great guy. Yeah. Okay, guys. What do I know now I wish I had known before? Definitely the fact that everything around us is an energy field. We're made of energy. Our bodies appear dense, they appear fixed, but they're 99% empty space. Nothing is fixed in this world. Everything is an energy field. And when you develop your internal skill, when you develop your relationship and your ability to communicate with the energy field around you, which is what qigong is, it's literally the language of communicating with the energy field. Then you have the tool to keep yourself healthy, to keep yourself happy and harmonized and connected in the flow. So yeah, I wish I had known this I would say I sort of did intuitively know this as a child, but through the teenage years, these things kind of get, beaten out of us, right? But yeah, that's something I wish I'd known my whole life, but I have no regrets about anything. It's all come around. Please stream again. Yeah, I'm doing these about once a week. I missed last week because I was traveling. I'm in North Carolina right now. I'm doing I'm at a Taoist retreat. I'm going really deep into some intense practices. I'm going to be here for another few weeks. So yeah, but I do plan on continuing this live series every week. What should I expect in further Qigong practice? How long should I practice daily to feel the effects? However long you have to practice, that's great. I started at like 10 or 15 minutes a day of Qigong, and now I'm doing 2 or 3 hours a day, just because I got hooked and I love it. As far as expectations, I don't recommend you have expectations, because if you're like, oh, I have to feel this thing at this time period, you're just going to if it doesn't happen, you're just going to like disappoint yourself and you'll have a resistance to practicing. So just know that by doing the practice, you're getting the benefit. Qigong is an incredible, incredible practice. It's been life-changing for me. So yeah, you can definitely expect to raise your energy levels though, and keep yourself calm and balanced. So it's better to go with the flow. Yeah, go with the flow. Just keep doing the practice and just play with it. It's you don't want to get too rigid and too fixed with it. It's like, think of it as it's sort of a playful thing. Like, you're playing with the life force, you're just experimenting and just seeing how it goes. How does this practice affect meditation? Qigong, but you could say it basically is a meditation. It's a moving meditation. I practice both Qigong and meditation. For me, the value of Qigong was that I had a hard time when I was first doing this practice. I had a hard time just sitting still and like calming my mind, but Qigong gets your body moving. And so this kind of gives your mind something to focus on, and then you slip into this really deep, calm state. And so afterwards, after doing that moving practice, you can sit down and meditate, and then it's very powerful because you've gotten out of your head and into your body. And this is one of the keys to meditation is getting in your whole body and not just like meditating from your brain. So that's been my experience with it. Can I join the exercises in Qigong or try to freely play with energy? Yeah, play with it. Play around with it. There's like what they call spontaneous Qigong, which is just like you do what feels good for you, basically. And mix exercises together for sure. Wishing you an abundance of blessings along your journey. Hey, thanks, brother. Wishing you the best as well. Wishing you abundance and blessings as well. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I'm going to sign off now. So I'll be back next week, same time, Wednesday, for this sexual mastery series. So have a great day, guys, and thanks for joining.